Hi, and welcome back to Tundra Sounds. So today we are going to take a look at how we can create a pretty basic pad sound using the aux envelopes, the LFO and mod paths to add some more texture to it. However, I don't want you to just follow the recipe step by step without critical thinking and just thinking like this is IKEA building a furniture, diving blindly into the manual. This is actually learning, get familiar with, recognizing, take notes. You will add this experience to your toolkit so that you can use your toolkit later when you're actually creating another sound based on your experience with this video and whatever you did with your Tempest or a similar synth that has similar capabilities. So find your synth, find your Tempest, whatever you have, and start doing your own synthesis while watching this, before watching this, and after watching this, okay? So today I'm sorry to say this, some of you guys will be bored because I'm going to spend some time creating this sound and it's not going to be too complex. I just want people to get familiar with the whole process, okay? Because sometimes people just follow the instructions too fast and they don't learn anything. At least I didn't do that in the beginning because I did that. I just followed the instructions and okay, I made this cool sound. How did I reach that? How did I actually make that sound? Well, I followed a recipe and well, that doesn't make you an expert, does it? It makes you able to follow instructions, and that's you want to be able to kind of be creative, okay? So let's take a look. I don't want to use a shaker, so I will initialize the shaker. And by default, it loads kick drum. So at oscillator 3, I will remove that sound. Okay. So now we don't have any sound on this pad. And what we would want to do is to find a basic sound that we can make more complex, or a complex sound that we can make less complex, based on whatever we want to do with the sound. So we want to make a pad sound. In my opinion, a pad sound should be complex with a lot of textures, and you should be able to decide if those textures are that we are able to hear it or if we're not able to hear it. And that's why we use the low pass filter. So I will go into that after we have chosen the actual wave shape or waveform or whatever. So let's listen to the sine here. So sine, that's the most basic shape. That's just one frequency without overtones. We can use the digital oscillator, finding the sine wave here, or we can, let's see, we can also remove the digital one here and self oscillate. They are pretty close to each other now. It's more difficult to tune the self-oscillating sine. And when you are oscillating the sine, I'm not completely sure if it's actually without any overtones, because a perfect sine is without overtones. But it doesn't sound like it's a lot of overtones. It sounds like a sine. Okay, so it sounds pretty similar. So that's the most basic waveform, wave shape that we can use for, let's say, a pad. But personally, I would use sine wave for sub bass, or the bottom on a bass sound, or whatever sound that needs some extra low end in a way, low frequency, a fuller bass tone inside that sound. So then I would use the sine wave in the bottom of the sound. However, we want some more texture, so let's go to this sound here, and we will remove, let's see, remove the sine, and go to oscillator 1, and listen to a triangle shape, triangle wave. So the triangle is with a little bit more overtones, not as much overtones as the saw triangle, and not as much overtones as the sawtooth, and or the pulse. So these different shapes have different qualities. In my opinion, the pulse or square, when it's at 50%, has a little bit more hollow or nasal sound. It still has a lot of overtones. A lot of people use this for keyboard sounds, like electric piano or piano sounds. But if you listen to the saw, let's see, the saw, it sounds kind of like sharper, more aggressive in a way, and the overtones are a little bit more spread. It doesn't sound that hollow, that nasal. Well, it's sharp, and in a way it's nasal, but it's, well, of course, your ears and your ability to put words on whatever you hear will decide whatever you feel when you hear it. Sorry, English is not my native tongue, so you will just have to bear with me. Okay, so we have a sawtooth there, and personally, sawtooth is the shape that works the best for me, in my opinion, because it's complex enough and it's not that hollow sounding, like the pulse shape kind of sounds like. The pulse sounds better as flute or piano and stuff like that, in my opinion. This sounds good for brass and other similar sounds, and when I'm making a pad sound, I want it to kind of have some brassy qualities without being too in your face. So let's do something with the sawtooth. So I will add another sawtooth to oscillator 2, and I will put it at 50% so that we can hear it in both of them at the same time. So now it kind of, the two oscillators makes it sound a little bit thinner when they are played together. That's a weird thing. I think it's something about the phase or something. It's getting a little bit out of phase. So what we can do now is to, let's see, we can detune both of these oscillators in either direction, so you can hear it, how it sounds, and we can try to play a chord. So, oh sorry, we have to use the 16 tunings mode. Let's see. Okay, so that's a little bit fuller sounding, more fatter sound, let's go to let's remove the detuning. It sounds more sterile in a way, so a little bit of detuning sounds good in my opinion. It kind of brings it to life in a way, and it takes you to the 80s. Okay, so let's add some movement to one of the oscillators. I'm not sure if it's just one of the oscillators or if it's two of the oscillators, both of the oscillators. However, the oscillator slap will kind of move the tuning of the oscillator in and out of tune of its original tuning. So put it at 5, it will almost sounds like a super small amount of LFO. So maybe you don't know what an LFO is. So if you go to the LFO is a low frequency oscillator. So that means is that the frequency is so low that you can actually hear the movement of the frequency rather than the sound of the frequency. It's not meant to be used to be a sound, but more a frequency that does something to another sound or the filter or whatever. So you can use the low frequency oscillator to move the pitch or tune of an oscillator up and down, out of tune, or maybe the filter, like closing and opening the filter in a certain amount and a certain tempo. So the rate is like the tempo, and the amount is how much it changes the thing you. So if you go to the destination here, I can actually force it to do something with the oscillator 1 frequency, and if I put it at amount of 22 and the speed of 80, it will sound like this. Oh, okay, it doesn't sound very good, does it? So what if I put it at, let's say, 2? It works, but it's kind of I'm getting a little bit like anxious or something, because there's something, the speed is too fast. So if I change the rate to, let's say, 20, it's a little bit less stressful in a way, and the amount at 2.1. I don't want detuning to be too fast or too hectic sounding. I want it to be discreet sounding. I just want some more life to the sound. So if you think this sounds too out of tune, you will always just go back to, you can always go back to the oscillator slap and change it to, let's say, 2 or something, and the detuning in each direction can be tuned back to a little bit closer together so that it doesn't sound too false in a way. In my opinion, this would work. It all matters on what kind of music you're making and if it fits the overall sound of the music, etc. Okay, so now we have a pad sound. But it's not done yet because it's too much in your face. So let's take a look at what we can do with it. Let's see. I will close the filter, the low frequency filter here. Sorry, the low frequency filter. The low pass filter. So now we can hear a little bit of leak through the filter. Don't care about that. So let's open the filter slightly by using the attack here and the amount. So the amount will decide how much it will open, and the attack will decide how fast it will open. So So let's see. So too fast. And maybe a little bit more amount. Okay, so let's say 90. And it sounds too fast. It goes down too fast. That's because the decay is very fast. So I will slow down the decay. You can even look at the graphics here. It shows you how fast it opens and then how fast it closes. And if we add some sustain, you can see that the decay, it will only go down to a certain amount of openness and then it will stay there for as long as I hold down the pad. So maybe even more in the sustain here. And I don't want it to like stop being open at the very moment I release my hands from the pads. So let's see. A little bit slower. It sounds better if you're making laid back music and stuff. If you're making like super fast and percussive sounds that will fit like funk or something, then you would not have this slow kind of release, etc. Unless it's just in the background and creating a cool vibe or yeah. So this doesn't sound too bad, does it? You can also go to the amp envelope because the amp envelope decides when the sound is at its full velocity. So when the attack is at 0, it's actually at the full velocity the very moment you hit the pad. So it's just because of the low pass envelope that you don't hear it. So, but we can slow down this as well. So the slower you make the amp envelope, the faster the low pass envelope will seem. So personally, I will take it a little bit back again, because this works better for me. Okay, so now we have a certain pad sound. And I want more texture to it. I don't want to just open and then close again. We can use the aux envelopes to do other things to the sound, like shaping the resonance, for example. Let's see the aux envelope, and I will do something to the resonance. This is fun. So low pass resonance and delay it a little bit. So the resonance often makes the sound a little more like sharper, because it's some of the filter resonates. So well, you can hear it if I let's screw this. I will show you. This sound, I want it to just kind of appear for a little while instead of being there all the time. So let's take a look at how we can do that. In aux envelope, I haven't explained all the envelopes. So the pitch envelope will control the pitch, the low pass envelope will control the low pass filter, the amp envelope will control the velocity of the sound. The aux envelopes you can decide whatever you want it to control. So I could even do that with the pitch. because the pitch is the same as the aux envelopes unless you I can show you. So we can I can show you. Let's see. So if I have a positive amount, then it will start at a higher pitch and then go lower again. So the attack decides how fast, let's put it at 0. So when the attack is at 0, it will start at a negative amount of 26 and slowly reach the actual pitch. So the decay decides how fast it will reach its actual pitch. However, the attack, that's so funny because the attack decides when this is going to happen or how fast it's going to reach its negative amount of in pitch, and then the decay will decide when it's going to go back again. So this is so weird. That's why when you're using the pitch envelope, it sounds better usually when you're beginning at 0 and maybe a faster amount, so that it kind of just sounds a little bit more funky. Maybe at, let's say, 2. So it's almost like a choir when all of the singers, they're almost hit the note and they will just kind of tune their way into the correct notes. And that can be a cool thing. And let's go to the aux 1. And here we can do what I told you earlier. I will use the resonance, and I will choose when it will reach a resonance where you can actually hear it. So I will delay it a little bit, and let's see, slow attack. And a huge amount, maybe. It sounds very weird because the decay is at 0. So when it has reached its peak level, it will just instantly drop down to 0. So let's see, a faster attack, but a slower decay, maybe. So. And a less amount. I wanted to just add some texture. Let's see. And to be honest, I think the pitch thing kind of sounded too weird, so I will remove it. This is so cool. Okay, let's do something more here. Let's go to the mod path. And I want to... No, sorry. I want aux2 to do something. So we will have to find a destination. Okay, what do we want? Do we want some feedback here? Mod 1 amount, mod 1. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so aux2 will make mod 1 amount. Okay, so mod 1 amount, I want the mod 1 to have noise, I think. It will be noise, and it will do something to oscillator 2, maybe? Oh, this is going to be weird. Okay, let's see. So amount of 48, and let's see. We'll have to have more in amount, and a slower attack and a longer decay. Maybe we can delay it a little bit so that we mess up the tail of the sound with the noise, maybe. Get even slower. Not that slow. 70. And slower attack. Even slower attack. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So many cool things that you can do here. And let's see for how long I have recorded. It's almost 30 minutes. Okay. I don't want to steal too much of your time here. Okay, so we have to do something to these here. Okay, so let's take a look at what we can do with these. So let's see. Slider position 1. Slider position 1 can do something to let's see, it has to be something you can hear. What about oscillator 3 level? That could be cool, I think. Yeah. So we will have to have some amount here, and we have to add a sound. So let's see. Wow, that was weird. Oscillator 3 level. This was weird. To be honest, this is one of the first time I've experienced this. Okay, so there's something. The only thing that annoys me a little bit about the slider position when you play the Tempest is that you can't do it while you're playing. You can't like add the oscillator 3 level. I think I can do some other stuff there though. I can do something with the slider pressure, and I can. No, it doesn't work. If I do something to the filter though, let's see. Yeah, that works. So let's see. Okay, so there's many things we can do here, and yeah, okay. To be honest, I haven't messed around too much with the slider position, etc. But as you can see, we have the slider position and slider pressure. It kind of feels like when you're messing with the resonance and stuff, it works, but when I'm messing with now I know. Or do I? I'm not sure. Because let's just listen to this. So you can do that in real time, but you can't do that with the oscillator level in some weird way. But I think that was super weird. I want to try that again. Oscillator 3 level. That's magic. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff you can do with the mod matrix here in the Tempest. So okay, so hopefully you liked the video and hopefully you learned something. If you did, please leave a comment below, or if you have a question, also leave a comment below, and like, subscribe if you want to watch more videos. Then you have to subscribe and ring the bell. Yes, see you again next time.